Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Rules and Research Committee meeting on January 2nd, 2025. It is just shy of 7:05 p.m. Can we please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for a moment of silence in memory of all of the lives that have been tragically lost over the past week over a multitude of events.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Margaret, can you please call the roll?
Veronica Lenzen.
Here.
Richard Wolf. Michael Colahan.
Here.
John Foreman.
Here.
Joy Cologne.
Here.
Kelly Malazzi.
Here.
Steve Lemoyne.
Here.
And Scott Wick.
Thank you very much. Okay. We're going to get started. If Mr. Lemoyne, can you please bring Resolution TC 30-108 to the floor?
Certainly. Resolution TC 30-108, be it resolved that Alyssa Hall be and the same is hereby appointed as an alternate member of the Planning and Zoning Commission for a term extending to the first Monday of December 2027.
Second, Kelly Malazzi.
Thank you. Alyssa, if you could please come up and introduce yourself, give us your address, your party affiliation, and why you'd like to be an alternate.
Go to speech.
Microphone. We want to hear your speech.
Good? Okay, my name's Alyssa Hall. I live on 19 Sunbeam Drive. I'm a registered Democrat. Thank you for the opportunity. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Alyssa Hall. I'm honored to be considered for the position of the alternate on Planning and Zoning Committee. Having been a resident of Trumbull for over 12 years, I've developed a strong connection to our town and its community. My experience on the Civil Service Board, Veterans Committee, Town Council, and currently on the Economic and Development Committee has provided me with a valuable experience and insight that I believe will allow me to contribute effectively to this committee. I'm committed to playing an active role in shaping our future of Trumbull and ensuring that our community continues to flourish. Serving as an alternate on this committee would be extremely rewarding, and I'm eager to contribute in the most positive way for our town.
Thank you. I would certainly like to say on your behalf that I did have the honor to serve on town council with you previously, which was great. And you have really done an awful lot for the town so far, and I appreciate all the service that you've done for us so far, and I think it's a great idea for you to be an alternate.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any other questions or concerns or thoughts or anything? No? Can we pass this by unanimous consent? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on. Ms. Cologne, can you please bring Resolution TC 30-109 to the floor?
Certainly, Madam Chair. Resolution TC 30-0109, be it resolved that Jennifer Uriquin be and the same is hereby reappointed as a member of the Trumbull Day Commission for a term extending to September 1st, 2029.
Second.
Thank you. Jennifer, are you here? I'm sorry. Yep, please come on up. Introduce yourself, let us know your address, your party affiliation, and why you'd like to be on the Trumbull Day Commission again.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer Reedwin. I live at 235 Tashwell Road, and I am not registered. I'm registered as unaffiliated. I would like to continue to be a member of the committee because I love being a part of the Trumbull community, and giving back to the community in such a rewarding way is so much fun. Everyone loves Trumbull Day, so I just love being a part of it.
Ooh, great. Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, thoughts? I served on the Trumbull Day Commission a while ago. It is a lot of fun.
It is.
So, great.
All the smiles. It's
Yes,
all the
it makes this, the smiles are what make it
Yes.
worthwhile. Can we pass this by unanimous consent as well? Okay, great. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I need Resolution TC 30-110 brought to the floor. Mr. Foreman, can you do that for me, please?
Certainly. Resolution TC 30-110, be it resolved that Aaron Bermudez be and the same is hereby reappointed as a member of the Trumbull Day Commission for a term extending to September 1st, 2029.
Second, Joy Cologne.
Thank you. Aaron, can you come on up? And just because I won't make you remember, can you give us your name, your address, and your party affiliation, and why you'd like to be a member of the Trumbull Day Commission again?
Sure. I'm Erin Bermudez. I live at 33 Yorktown Circle. I'm unaffiliated, and I'd like to be part of the Trumbull Day Committee because I was last year and I had a great time doing it. It was a wonderful event and the group was great. I'm also part of the Jane Ryan PTA and Pumpkin Fair, and I like doing that sort of thing.
Great, thank you. Does anybody have any other questions? Are we able to pass this by unanimous consent? Congratulations, and thank you very much for volunteering. Ms. Malazzi, can you please bring Resolution TC 30-111 to the floor?
Certainly, Madam Chair. Resolution TC 30-111. Be it resolved that the reappointment by the First Selectman of Jens Howland as a member of the Trumbull Education and Government Access Television Commission for a term extending to the first Monday of December 2027 be and the same is hereby approved.
Second, Joy Cologne.
Thank you. Mr. Holland? You can share with us your address and your party affiliation and why you would like to do this for us again.
Address is 35 Macbeth Drive in Trumbull, obviously. What was the next question?
And why you would like to be on the, it's a very long title, but the
Yes,
TV,
the
the
commission.
TCTV.
So I've been on the commission for, I think it's 2 terms now. And one of the reasons we can broadcast live from Town Hall has, we've done a lot of work and it's been interesting and useful to the town. I'm an immigrant, so contributing to the town is just important.
Well, we certainly appreciate that, and the fact that we've been able to bring our meetings, all of our meetings, town meetings, to the town has been invaluable and has really allowed us for everyone to be more involved, so we appreciate that. Does anybody have any other questions? Can we pass this by unanimous consent? All right, congratulations, and thank you very much. Okay, I think we have to go back around again now. Oh, Mr. Colohan, you haven't had a chance yet. Can you please bring TC 30-112 to the floor?
Certainly. Resolution TC 30-112, be it resolved that Eric Polson be and the same is hereby reappointed as a member of the Pension Board for a term extending to the first Monday of December 2028.
Second, Joy Cologne.
Thank you. I believe I saw Hi, Mr. Paulson, how are you?
I'm good. Hi, Eric Paulson, 69 Brittany Avenue. I'm a registered Democrat.
And can you tell us a little bit more about your time previously on the pension board and why
Sure.
you'd like to do it again?
Absolutely, yes. I've enjoyed working with the pension board, not only the individuals on it, but also the subject matter is from a previous career of mine. I was an investment manager and certified financial planner, so I enjoy talking markets with people, and I've enjoyed doing the pension board work.
Right, and we actually have mostly enjoyed listening to all of the pension work when they bring it to town council. It is great to have a lot of information brought to us when we have to make those votes. So we do appreciate your service for that. Does anybody have any other questions? All right, can we do this by unanimous consent? Okay. Congratulations, and thank you again for volunteering.
Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Lemoyne, can you please bring TC 30-113 to the floor?
Certainly. Resolution TC 30-113, be it resolved that the reappointment by the First Selectman of John Loria as a member of the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Commission for a term extending to the first Monday of December 2025 be and the same is hereby approved.
Second, Joy Cologne.
Thank you. Mr. Loria?
Hello.
Hi.
My name is John Loria. I live at 9 Providence Drive here in town. Unaffiliated voter and lifelong resident. Maybe I've lived in town longer than anyone in this room, I'm not sure. But I've been on the Wetlands Commission for 25 years now. I'm currently the co-chairman. I've been affiliated with a lot of other organizations in town, most notably the Trumbull Historical Society, where I at one time was the president and still remain somewhat active in. And I would like to continue my tenure on the Wetlands Commission for another year until my next appointment comes up. And if you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you so much, and thank you for all your years of service and
Thank
being
you.
so dedicated to the town. We appreciate that. Does anybody have any questions? No? Can we pass this by unanimous consent? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Ms. Cologne, can you please bring TC 30-114 to the floor?
Certainly, Madam Chair. Resolution TC 30-114. Be it resolved that the reappointment by the First Selectman of Carmine DeFeo as a member of the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Commission for a term extending to the first Monday of December 2027 be and the same is hereby approved.
Second.
Thank you. Is Mr. DeFeo here? Good evening.
Evening. Carmine DeFeo, 15 Woodcrest Avenue, and I am a registered Republican. I've been on the Wetlands Commission now for 15 years. After discussing with John, he beats me by 5 months as far as living in the town of Trumbull. My granddaughter and grandson make it a third generation graduating from Trumbull High School. I've learned a lot on wetlands and enforcing the regulations with the applications that come through, and I feel it's very important, especially with all the climate changes we've been seeing recently. In addition to wetlands, I'm also an elected commissioner for the Nichols Fire District, and that has been keeping me busy also since I retired at the end of December 2023. So, looking forward to give back additional hours to the town of Trumbull. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Does anybody have any other questions for Mr. DeFeo? No? Can we pass this by unanimous consent? Congratulations, Mr. DeFeo. Thank you very much. Okay, and last but not least, number 8, Resolution TC 30-115. Mr. Foreman, can you bring that to the floor, please?
Certainly. Resolution TC 30-115. Be it resolved that the reappointment by the First Selectman of Robert Ferrigno as a member of the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Commission for a term extending to the first Monday of December 2027 be and the same is hereby approved.
Good evening,
Second.
Second.
Formality. Go ahead.
good evening, council people. Robert Ferrigno, 35 Briarwood Terrace. I'm a registered Democrat, proud veteran of the United States Army and honorably discharged. I served 41 years on the Trumbull Park and Recreation Commission. Out of those 41 years, I was 35 years as a chairman. I would like to continue my service to the town of Trumbull.
Wonderful. Thank you for all of your service to the town and to our country.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any other questions? Can we take this by unanimous consent? Congratulations, and thank you very much.
Happy New Year.
You too. Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Welcome to the Legislative and Administrative Committee meeting for January 2nd, 2025. Happy New Year, everyone. If you'll please stand for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Joseph Pifko,
Here.
Michael Buswell,
Here.
Steve Lemoyne,
Here.
Veronica Lenzen,
Here.
Jason Marsh,
Here.
Ashley Gaudiano,
Here.
Tony Cinto, Nicole Satin.
Here.
Thank you. Mr. Marsh, will you please bring Resolution TC 30-116 to the floor, please?
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Resolution TC 30-116, be it resolved and ordained that Section 18-27, Chapter 18, Taxation, Article 2, Exemptions of the Trumbull Municipal Code, Solar Energy and Natural Energy Systems is hereby repealed and replaced. Full resolution attached. Public hearing at the Town Council meeting on January 6, 2025.
Second.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak to the issue?
Evening, Mr. Chairman. Committee. Rena Bacalar is the person who has the backup and knowledge with regard to this ordinance. I know that when she spoke to me, she felt that really this was a question of extending the time of the ordinance. It's been in effect for years. And she felt and feels that it is from the point of view of selling the town to prospective investors and people coming in, that this has been very helpful or is very helpful or would be very helpful. Beyond that, I don't have much to say. And I think it's probably best to pass this without recommendation so that Rena can speak to it on Monday.
Thank you, Mr. Shopik. Do I have a motion to pass this without recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Mr. Buswell, will you please bring Resolution TC 30-119 to the floor?
Sure. Resolution TC 30-119, be it resolved that the acquisition of approximately 9.8 acres of real estate at Shelton Road, Trumbull, Connecticut, map K-008-00055 from the state of Connecticut for $262,000 is hereby approved. And be it further resolved that First Selectman Vicky A. Tesoro is hereby authorized to execute any agreements or take any necessary steps to complete the acquisition.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Shopik?
This I am a bit more knowledgeable about. First of all, I'm going to ask that as part of the proceedings tonight that a motion be passed to change the number to 256,000. I must have been dreaming when I wrote 262. The correct number is $256,000. So that is I would like to have that happen. What I can tell you is that under state statute, anytime the state of Connecticut is selling property, or usually it's a sale of property. We've had other instances this year where the state was selling property. In all cases, the town is offered a right of first refusal, and that's what we're talking about tonight. And it's a 9.8 acre piece up on Shelton Road, and it is. I think there was some talk about it back in May, when the state first was asking for $270,000 for the property. Nobody bid on it. They did come back to us, though, recently, within the last, we have a letter dated November 19th that says that they have a buyer. And a legitimate buyer of the property for $256,000,
and we've been offered the right of first refusal. If for more in-depth information, if you want to go into executive session, we can. I do have an appraisal of the property that the town had done by Baldwin Pearson, which I can share with the committee in executive session, and then we can talk about it some more. There may be questions I can answer in public session, but I'm at the mercy of the committee at this point.
Okay, do I have a motion to move into executive session? Do you have a question
Mr.
before that?
Buswell might have a question.
One that probably didn't need it, but
Okay,
Go
go
if you
ahead.
guys want to go, we'll just go and I can ask it then.
Well, I don't want to necessarily ask in executive session what I can answer outside, so.
Where is it exactly on Shelton Road?
We have a map. If I have a packet. The property abuts the Route 8. So this is property that the state took as part of the Route 8, and how many years ago was that? The map of the property is, a survey was done. We can certainly share that, but I do have a packet that includes the appraisal, and that I think we should go into executive session for.
All right, I have a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session.
Do I have a second? Okay. All in favor? Okay, thank you.
It's for purposes of discussing this land acquisition and the appraisal of the land, and people who should be present are members of the committee and the alternates. First Selectman, Mr. Massaro, what? Chair of the council, and I guess Ms. Katsky. That's it.
Thank you. Welcome back. Let it be noted that we came back from executive session at 7:52. Do we have a motion from the floor regarding the resolution?
Yes. I'd like to make a motion that we edit Resolution TC 30-119 to reflect the cost of the property to be $256,000 as opposed to $262,000. There was a mistake in the original.
I second.
All in
Thank you.
favor? Thank you. Okay. Do we have a motion to move this to the town council, please? Second? All in favor?
Second. Yep.
And the motion carries. And that concludes our agenda. Thank you very much.
I make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Good.
Welcome, everyone, to the January Finance Committee meeting. Happy New Year to everyone. Let's first stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, nation under God, indivisible, and justice.
Margaret, can you please call the roll?
Tony Dorsey.
Here.
Tony Sinto. John Foreman.
Here.
Ann Sather.
Here.
Kevin Shively.
Here.
Nicole Satin.
Here.
Richard Wolf. And Mary Isaac.
Thank you. Councilman Sather, can you please read Resolution TC 30-117?
Certainly. Resolution TC 30-117, appropriating $5,995,000 for the Trumbull Board of Education Capital Improvement Plan 2025-2026, and authorizing the issuance of $5,995,000 bonds of the town to meet said appropriation, and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowing for such purpose. Full resolution attached.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Who's here to speak on this resolution?
Good evening, Kevin Dion, Director of Operations for the Board of Ed. Every year, capital, we go through, we look at our buildings, as our buildings age, there are replacements that need to be done. We continue to do our best to make sure that we replace what's necessary, at the same time so we can have safe and secure buildings for all of our students and all of our staff. As our buildings age, which that's a problem in the Northeast, it's not just here in Trumbull, but as our buildings get older, they require more maintenance and they require larger items to be replaced and repaired. So this year's request includes items that were identified in a district master plan that was brought to light in October of 2023. Many items were shown after they did an audit of all of our buildings, as well as things that have happened in the past year, plus items that need to get renovated, replaced, or renewed.
Are there any questions for the Board of Ed?
So I was looking at one of the questions that was raised. Actually, it was Mary Isaac, who's unfortunately not here because she's not feeling well, but had raised and mentioned was about the parking around Trumbull High School. And I think one of the things that was talked about that we were short on parking spaces. Some of the students were parking elsewhere and causing, more traffic issues and things like that. I mean, is what you're addressing here going to add additional parking or address that issue?
So we will be looking at parking, but overall, that project is to direct the flow. Currently, the flow and safety is one of our best major priorities. We also have drainage. Those who remember, the front of our building has flooded twice. We actually had it happen again this summer. So what's being proposed for the parking lot renovation is to increase the traffic flow, have pull-offs for both student drop-off as well as buses. There will be some additional parking that was going to be created over by the south end of the field where the stadium is, but mostly, and I think Public Works can come up and talk a little bit more about the plan. They've assisted us on this plan as far as what the additional space. But the main purpose is traffic flow, safety, and getting the drainage, getting the water away from the front of the building.
Thank you.
Question for me. Which of these are projects for improvement versus true investment in the capital plan for the school property?
I mean, these are capital. These are long-term items. These are large ticket items, but they also have a life expectancy over around 20 years or more.
Okay.
So that's what we went through. We talked with the Board of Finance. There was some discussion on a couple of the items which were removed that they didn't think were capital. So at this time, everybody felt that this is a true capital plan with long-term items.
Can you, on this 2.2, you have in here for the high school. So this is all stuff that was separated from the, like, you got 800,000 for the lacrosse and paving and fencing of the site. I thought we already paid for that before. Am I wrong?
That was phase 2, and Athletic Director Mike King is here. He can speak on that. But the 800,000 is for additional needs for the stadium.
Good evening.
Yeah, so you're saying, if I'm looking at this correctly, the whole field is going to cost $3.1 million when it's all done?
$3 million. So last year we came and asked for $3 million, and then we were asked to see if we could split that project into multiple years. So essentially what we did was in phase 1, which took place this summer, for the most part, 90% of the work was from the track fence in. So we replaced the fence right around the track. We replaced the track itself. We replaced the artificial field. And then we converted the D zones, which is the area behind each end zone inside the track, from natural grass to a synthetic track, which involved excavating, putting in a curtain drain, filling, paving, and then putting down the track material. We did a little work outside the track fence on the north end. We did a little paving where we put a path around, so there was a walkway connecting the two sides of the field so people didn't have to walk through the grass. And we repaved what we call the team ramp. Phase 2 was basically most of the stuff outside of the track fence, mostly being done in the southern end of the field around the concession stand area where the scoreboard is, which would include repaving all that area, repaving the entrance to the field from what we call the Hillcrest Gate, putting in a new ticket booth there, and replacing the entire fence around the exterior of the facility. It also involved repaving the handicap entrance by the ticket booth and making that compliant with new railing, which were currently not compliant. And then in the north end, putting in a multi-purpose throwing wall, which would be used by boys and girls lacrosse teams, our soccer teams, and our ice hockey teams. So that kind of makes up what phase 2 would be.
So what portion of the 800,000 is paving? Because we have the 1.2 in parking, drainage, driveway, and then the 800,000 in, we have paving up, I don't know.
So the
should paving
800,000
be-
is simply for McDougal Stadium. So that wouldn't include the other work at the high school.
Okay, so separate.
It's separate.
Okay. And what was the cost of the lacrosse wall?
So the wall, which is not just used for lacrosse, but it'd be, I think it's about $135,000, and it's a huge wall in the shape of a capital letter I that's surrounded on all sides by artificial turf, and in the middle would have an area of synthetic ice so the hockey kids can also use it for their off-season workouts and their preparation. So the idea is that it's designed so that 30 lacrosse players could use it at one time, probably about 20 soccer players at one time, and a handful of hockey players could use their one section while other people were using the other section. So it's not just the wall, it's also the area around it, 30 feet out in all directions. It's going to be artificial surface. The bulk of the project, the cost, is in the fencing. That's a huge part of it. That's over half.
I just got a comment, that's all. It just seems that, I know the sports are important, I know the field's important, but it seems we're spending half of money for sports in the field than fixing the buildings. I think fixing the buildings would be more important than fixing the field. But I understand the field's important, and you got to pick and choose your spots, but it just seems astronomical, $3 million to fix the field. So, and again, you guys weren't here. You guys weren't here when the place was re-renovated, so I'm not going to ask you questions about that. So you
And
guys
a
won't
lot
know
of what
anything
we're
about it.
addressing hasn't been, it's original to the school, so it's 50 years old. For
Yeah,
example,
some,
the
right.
fencing.
Just a bit of history for those who might have been here last year when we did this. Maybe all of you were, I don't recall. But they did come, Mr. King did come last year with a $3 million price tag for the field. And what he said was correct. We asked them to split it a little bit so it wasn't the $3 million all last year. So the $800,000 was the balance that we all talked about last year as well. You probably remember that. The project for the paving and the flooding issue, that actually, if you remember, when we did the capital plan earlier this year, or last year, I should say, in November, that project is actually total will be $2,500,000. Is that correct, George? Right. It's split. That is split into 2 years again. So one half is this year in '25. The balance will be next year of $1,250,000. So the entire project is actually $2.5 million. I just want everybody to be aware of that. So next year, depending on what you do this year, of course, but if you approve the $1,250,000 now, there will be a balance next year of another $1,250,000. Okay? Sorry.
Are there any other questions?
Not on Trumbull High. But I do have one quick question. We were also speaking with Mary about Daniel's Farm and the generator. Can you just give us, what's going, we're putting an outdoor
This is
generator?
Tashua.
Oh, Tashua.
Tashua. Originally, it was Daniel's Farms, but in the meantime, when that original plan came through, we started having issues with Tashua. And Tashua is an internal generator. The whole setup is inside right now. So we moved that Daniel's Farm to next year, and we moved Tashua into this year because we're having an issue. It is working, functioning right now, but it is aging out. It's leaking oil, and really, to be code and to be a lot safer, it's best to put that outside on its own pad. So that's why we flipped it, if you'll see in the Capitol.
Okay, it is still showing this year for Daniel's Farm. Is that,
Okay.
that should,
There's 250,000 this year.
I think
If we look at that far right column, the 1-year funding request he was taking out, if I read this correctly.
Yeah.
Oh, the board would be BOF. Yeah, okay.
we had this discussion.
Yeah, so the far right column is the,
It was taken out.
okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So, but with that generator for Tashua, that's 310 as opposed to what was at Daniel's Farms, which was 250.
Correct. The generator needs to be moved outside. Currently, it's inside, so that's going to create moving of electrical, putting a pad site, as well as we hope with that 310 to be able to get more of the building covered, more of the essential elements of the building. So it's an expansion.
What does the generator currently do? Oh, I'm sorry. you
No,
got a
go
question?
ahead, go
What does the generator currently
It
do?
currently does the essentials, which is keeping the e-lights on, some of the heat, as well as kitchen, coolers, bare minimum essentials right now.
And is it,
We'd like to
is it
expand
gas or diesel?
It's diesel.
And it's always had a generator?
As far as I know. I've been here since August, but yes,
Well, I know,
it is
you-
an older generator, so it's been there for a while.
Okay, thanks.
So again, through the chair, so you say it needed to be moved outside. I understand there was some discussion that adds to the cost, obviously, of moving it outside, partly because we have to move the electrical and all that. So what was the reasoning why it needed to be moved outside? Why was that determination made?
Codes change over time, and the recommendation, it's easier to service, it's not inside the building. You don't have a combustible inside the building, so you can actually, you don't have the smokestacks and you don't have the flues and other things you need to maintain. So you have a lower maintenance cost, and it just meets better code, more modern code.
So would it be reasonable to say more upfront cost, but possible savings down the line from a maintenance standpoint?
It'd be much easier to maintain. There'll be no need to get into the building. Maintenance can be done. It won't disrupt any of the school, educational programming. It'll be much better, and that's, if you look at most generators now, they're outside.
I have two questions for two different schools. For agri-science, what is the chiller replacement?
What is the chiller?
Yeah.
The chiller is basically the air conditioning system. There's different types of air conditioning systems. They use a chiller, which is a chilled water system. That is actually downstairs. It's an inside chiller. That is just aging out. It can no longer. It's actually been down since this past summer. We did not have air conditioning in the building, but we don't have any summer programming, and the animals were moved. But we do need to get that fixed for this upcoming summer, and it is beyond repair. We did talk to Train. We may be able to, with new modern technologies, move that chiller to the roof. We're hoping to do that, as well as put in possibly a smaller chiller, which would be lower maintenance costs, but still give us adequate cooling for the entire building due to efficiencies.
So if it's moved to the roof, does the $300,000 account for?
We're being told by Train. We had them quote that about a couple months ago, and they said yes, the 300 would cover all that.
Okay. Go ahead. You ask your question.
Are we getting anything from the state on this building?
We will request reimbursement from the state, but at this time, they are not committed to anything.
How much of that building are we responsible for?
That's treated as with the tuition is where we get our reimbursement. As far as what the state reimburses for the building, it's not, they don't consider it a state building. We can apply for grants, and they will review it on a case by case, and that is the last thing that we heard from the state.
The reason why I'm asking, because it's technically like a regional school, correct?
It falls into a different program, from my understanding. We have had emails back and forth with the state on this. Their last response was to put in a grant and they will review. So that is not a commitment on their part, but it also doesn't close the door. But we will put it in the capital. We do need to get it taken care of, and if the state will pick up a percentage of that, the application will be made, and that'll be a cost savings to the town if they approve.
Thanks.
Can you just refresh my memory as far as what we're deciding on in terms of the Tashawa roof replacement? Is that something that is being put off, or where do we come down where that got removed from the Board of Finance?
For the roof, with all the other projects going on, and we're able to make repairs, it's just not feasible at the moment.
I think I remember that now.
So
I think
we pushed that off.
It was just a matter of how many projects we had, and we couldn't get to all of them, so we're pushing. So we should expect that one to come back.
You should see, probably we'll see that next year come back.
Okay. Thank you.
Last one for me. Let's go to the Long Hill building. I thought that you guys were going to get out of that building, but we just keep putting more and more into the building. New parking lot, new whatever.
Well, currently there is no alternative location for the Board of Ed. When we spoke with the Board of Finance, they brought up the same comment and their same belief, and we are more than open to having discussions if there's an alternative location or future plans. But as of right now, we do have staff in that building. We do have meetings there. So our goal is to keep it intact, safe, and secure.
Do you guys know how much space you would need if you got rid of that building?
It depends where our operations
How many people
go.
work in the building now?
I don't have the exact
on a regular
number.
Monday morning, how many people are there?
I don't have the exact number for the exact amount of people, but we do have every office occupied in that building, plus some. We do have people double stacked.
Well, how many offices are there?
I don't have that number, but I can get it for you.
Just
I
seems
can
like
give you the square footage. of the building.
Well, that doesn't mean that's because part of
That's
the
about all
building
the
is.
information. I can get that for you.
Yeah, I would like to know how many people work in the building on a daily basis. How many people?
Okay. I can get that for you.
And never worry about the office space. That's something separate because they use that old gym or whatever it is. There.
The gym is the assembly room?
auditorium. Yeah.
Okay.
We don't want to count that as space. That's not there all the time.
It is, but it is a used public space. It is a conference space, so it is used by many groups daily.
Because this building's turned into a money pit, in my opinion.
It is an older building, and there's no doubt, and it needs to be maintained. As I said before when I started this presentation, that the older the building, usually the higher the maintenance cost. And so I do agree that discussions need to be made on the future of that building and who's going to be in it.
Thanks. I know you just got here, so just,
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Okay.
Just one last follow-up then to that, to Mr. Cinto's comment. So again, the roof replacement there, is that a put-off, or is that also related to the uncertainty of the use of that building, or both, or?
It's probably both. I mean, the section that we wanted to replace is not going to get any better. It's degraded, UV degraded. Anytime there's work done and there are rooftop units up there, you can possibly make more cracks, more penetrations, just over time. So we will have to keep putting money into it. I think we were at $12,000 last I checked, about a week ago, into repairs so far this year as of July 1. So
I was talking about the 450 that was taken out, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So for the roof repair, we're going to have to keep spending money, and that money's not giving us a return. A new roof, you won't have a maintenance cost. By pushing that down, we will have to spend some money. And again, long-term, where is that building going to be? Where will the Board of Ed be? And if decisions are made, whether or not to go and proceed with that roof. But we do have time. We do have time for discussions, but it's costing us money to wait.
Just quickly, regarding the bus garage and the parking lot design and permitting. So it's $80,000 just for the design and the permitting of the parking lot, is that right?
Yeah, that's a Public Works project. I'm not sure if you want to speak to that. That's their project, and that required some DEP approvals.
That is just design. It's to prepare us for permitting. For the transfer station next door, it took about 2 years to get the DEP permitting required, because what this design is to fill in the right side closest to the transfer station in front of that bus parking facility.
Okay.
Put in a culvert, fill that in, and create off-street parking. Because we're doing the improvements currently on Spring Hill Road, they've begun, and that will be widening and queuing lanes off the road for traffic. The bus, when school's in session, the bus drivers are parking along Spring Hill Road, and they create a real issue.
Okay.
So this has been something that we've been planning, but obviously prioritizing. It has not been funded, and we strongly advise that we do that because we have to get those cars off of that road.
Okay, so then there'll be more costs down the line associated
Yes.
with this parking lot. Now, are all those buses just serving Trumbull, or do they serve other school districts?
So those are our Board of Ed buses, correct? But some of them do go outside of the district.
Do other towns help support the cost of this project?
For some of our sped buses, there's discussions of having other towns have help us, but mostly it's Trumbull's burden.
Thank you.
So I just want a clarification, I just don't know. On Madison Middle School with the HVAC, when it says the rooftop unit currently carrying stage R, what does that mean?
Yeah, I'll explain that. They're both in the auditorium. There is one rooftop unit that does the stage because it gets very hot with the lighting and activities up there. And there's another in the main area where the seating is. Currently, the one in the stage is down, so the main unit on the roof, which is where the seating area is, actually carrying the stage. So you really can't get it very cool in there. And you also have two old units, so you're actually putting stress on another unit that's beyond its age.
So does that mean we're replacing both?
We would like to replace both.
So that's why it's
make
100.
it fully functional.
Gotcha.
Any other questions? If not, then do I have a motion to pass this for recommendation to the full town council? Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Councilman Shively, can you please read Resolution TC 30-118?
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Resolution TC 30-118, resolution appropriating $13,940,000 for the Trumbull Town Capital Improvement Plan 2025-2026 and authorizing the issuance of $13,940,000 bonds of the town to meet said appropriation and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose, full resolution attached.
Have a second?
Second.
Who is here to speak? George, there you go. I understand Maria's sick, so we'll save questions for her on bonding. Are there any questions for George? Good, Tony.
Hey, George, not necessarily on this, but in just in general, from last year's stuff, how are we progressing in a percentage point of getting that stuff done? Like, I know you did the park, and I know you guys are working on the transfer station, like the stuff that we, how much paving did you guys get done? That kind of stuff.
Paving, the paving, we completed what we had intended to complete last year, because a portion of that, as we had discussed last year, was going to be the pre-paving with the drainage work and the preparation. That carries over into this coming spring, and that will be the first paving, such as a perfect example is Lake Avenue. And then we also have the areas that we are just completing on the other side of town. That was the WPCA's sewer project, I think Project 5 was that area down there in your office back there? That was projected, that was not approved. So that drainage is near completion. That area will be paved. So I would say that we're on target with what we intended to pave. We completed actually early this year because the weather was very good. Other projects beyond just the paving, the Unity Park on the park side, that was completed on schedule, and the funding that we're requesting this year in this capital plan is to complete the Unity paving and into the rear of the health department.
On paving, I got a phone call from somebody who was on Shawnee. Is that on? I don't see it on is there a list? Is that they said the road's really bad? I know you would know the roads because I know you guys keep track of them. So where is Shawnee in reference to paving?
Shawnee was on the list. We pushed it back. We're getting everything out of that road that we can because we have to do full reclamation and all the drainage on that road.
So that moved out 1 year?
It's in the 5-year plan.
It's in the 5-year plan. So within the next few years, that will probably be done. Again, as you know, we group them. So we try to pull them together for order of magnitude in volume of paving in any area, minimize the expenses for mobilization. But Shawnee is on the 5-year capital plan.
They said it's kind of falling apart when it goes down the hill, where the other street, all the other streets come together.
Yeah, we have quite a few of those, unfortunately. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. The dump closure, the fees associated with that, the costs associated with that, how does that work? How does that process work when you have to do, can we leave it as it is, or do we have to go through a process and?
We go through a process. The funding that you see for dump closure in the plan is for the design of the closure, and that is an engineered design that has to be approved by DEEP and other regulatory agencies. We have been working closely with them because the final closure actually was due in 2020, I believe. So we were behind schedule, but because we took the initiative of contacting them in the last year and a half, we've been working through that. We're in a good place. We're working collaboratively with them. This is to get that design completed. It'll be submitted, and then once that design is completed, that'll give us the tools to be able to determine what the actual cost of the closure will be. Because right now I couldn't tell you what that is, but it could be substantial, depending on what the final design of that is. And we're required to. It's a regulated area, so the closure basically means a certain amount of fill that will again cap that organic fill, and that will allow for encapsulating what's there and not allowing anything to migrate.
So just to clarify, that's a no on the leave it as is, right?
Correct. Unfortunately.
All right, just want to make sure that everybody understood that. On the paving, back to the paving here, am I correct? And did we not get all of the things that were on the list for this year accomplished?
There
as far
were
as paving?
streets for this year, such as a Lake Avenue, but we provided a plan several months ago, or an update, and in that you'll see, just like as we will have this coming year and we have every year, there are roads that are funded in a given year.
Funded from previous. Yeah.
Correct, but we have all the preparation, drainage and other structure replacements, preparing the road for paving. Some strategically we will leave to weather over on the winter to allow them to have a final settling, so that when we come in and pave, we have a good permanent surface that will last a lot longer. Because if you go in and you do the drainage and you pave right away, chances are you're going to have depressions there within a few years. So it's all an engineered plan that our engineering department works very closely with the highway department.
So you used used the funds that were provided to you from the bonding last year.
Absolutely.
Whether or not it was completely finished.
They're used or encumbered.
Or encumbered, right.
Yes.
That's what I meant. Encumbered by used is
Absolutely.
included in that. And you anticipate the same thing for this year, that you could do that?
Yes.
And get all through all of these again this year?
Yes, because we really work on the plan very, very carefully, recognizing we have a certain amount of resources annually. Our plan is something, when we present it to you, is something that we're sure we actually complete.
And just to wrap that up, when you came to us with your new plan, right, when you kind of revamped the entire paving plan, I mean, are you on track for what you were predicting originally as far as the improvements in terms of number of increased miles and things that you've been able to
Absolutely.
do?
I'm going to ask Rich Infante, our Director of Operations, just to give you an overview on the paving program and pavement preservation, if he would.
Good evening, everyone. We are on track with our paving program. We covered about 8 miles in '24 of road mile equivalent. We do road mile equivalent because we do parking lots. We did the police department this year, a number of things. So we come up with a baseline square yards to come up with an equivalent. So we covered about 8 miles of paved roads this year. 9 miles of crack sealing in town. We did 7.5 miles of pothole repair with a specialized pothole repair truck. Overall, with crack sealing, fog sealing, everything, we treated 28 miles of road in town this year. So we are on track. It's a lot to accomplish with pavement preservation and paving. I know everyone's concerned we're trying to get the paving budget down, bring pavement preservation up, but you don't even realize that you still are on track, because George has kept it pretty flat, $5 million each year, but our paving costs have gone up each year. We're up about 20% in our overall asphalt cost, which is 60% of our paving cost in the roads. So you are having a reduction on the paving side with the pavement preservation in place. Now, we still have a number of years before we, get to where we need to be, but we're getting there. In another 5 or 6 years, we should have a pretty good handle on it. Lake Avenue, was mentioned, Lake Avenue, there's another subsurface issue over there I was talking to the engineering department about that we're gonna have to address. We're trying to figure out, which is over by Sally Ann. So it may delay the paving on Lake Avenue a bit, but we don't want to pave a road and then have to go back. It's an issue that's been there for a while, and we can't isolate exactly what it is, what's causing the problem. And also Shawnee is a road that we're trying to get every last dollar out of. There's subsurface issues on Shawnee. The material underneath the road is not structural enough to support the road. That's why you see the buckling and deterioration of the road. So we're trying to get every last dollar out of that road until we redo it, because we're gonna have to tear the whole thing apart. So some things stay on track. Some things get delayed a little bit, but we want to make sure that everything weathers over and you're going to get the best, the most for your dollars.
I have one question on Town Hall, and this is just for clarification for me. For the mechanical Town Hall Long Hill building, design and replacement of HVAC and control system Town Hall, we bonded in 2024 $400,000, and there's an approved request for another $200,000. Walk me through, where was the $400,000 spent, and what's the intention of the additional $200,000?
The majority of the $400,000 spent last year were the rooftop units. On this building right now, you have all new mechanicals on the roof. So we began on the lower level 3 years ago in the basement level with a thorough dehumidification system, because that's a killer for a building just in general. So we made the lower level a clean space, well ventilated, and can be tempered. From there, we started working our way up into the building, and the roof was this past year. Where we go from this point on is now we're in design currently, with the portion of the funding from last year is dedicated to the design internally. This room is particular issue. You can hear when the ventilation system kicks in. That has to do with the size of the plenums. It's struggling, so when you're trying to draw through too small of an opening, you get that hurricane effect that it drowns out the sound in this building. So all of those type of issues are being designed right now for correction. Building department and fire marshal's office right directly below us have similar issues that they have it's very difficult space to balance. The other that is in real severe mode is the First Selectman's conference room, her suite, the finance department beyond that. Those areas we can't balance. And again, that is going to require the VAV boxes up in the ceilings and establishing a way of tempering spaces, because the building from its original design has been compartmentalized. And when you do that, then the systems that were originally designed just don't work. So you'll have really cold office over there and one that's just like a sauna on this end, and nothing in between that's in balance. So that's where we are that's where we step into. We reduced our request from 4 that was originally to 2, because recognizing how much will we actually be able to do in 1 year. And that's why we're only asking for the 2, and then the following year we'll ask for that remainder. But now we're really getting into the building, into the spaces. Another area that really struggles is the tax collector's office and the clerk's office. Those areas which are they're high public spaces, and we struggle with balancing and tempering those. So we're in the building now, working, because the infrastructure in general, the big stuff is all done. It's going to take us still another couple of years.
So the plan is through 2027, you think?
We're hoping. We'll see from the design, and then when we get into these first 2 areas, it's going to tell us a lot, because that'll determine how much ceiling displacement will have to take place to get in there and do what we have to do. In a room like this, we're going to have to run new plenums in here to bring in more fresh air. The units up on the roof were designed for the spaces now. So we have the capacity, it's just a matter of distribution though. So the distribution system is what we have to look at now.
Just a quick question on paving. You've probably had this question many times before. But materials, can you lock in, or is that pricing always in flux?
It changes year to year, and we piggyback on the state bid. The state will go out and put out a municipal bid that all municipalities in the state can take advantage of. There have been times, and this is Rich Infante's world. He'll advise us if there's a moment where it would be in our best interest to shift and try to bid outside of that state bid. That does happen for certain services at times, and it's advantageous. But usually the best price is when they're going out and they lock into a supplier for 50 municipalities that are basically pooling the economy of scale. It's driven by oil. That's basically what the driver is.
Councilman Charlie, go ahead.
So I want to ask you about the transfer stations and the money for WPCA here. I know last year we spent about 1.7 on the force main, right, in Old Town. Yep. Which is more than what we're asking for this year. I mean, so we're at 1.3, almost 1.4 this year for some additional things. By the way, I will also say thank you for inviting many of us to tour the transfer stations. I think a lot of us found it very enlightening. We learned a lot, and probably time to tell the public, hey, those flushable wet wipes, no, please. If you see how they have to pull those things out, you don't want to flush those things out.
You know more now than you care to know, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, they're not so flushable. But is this something we should see? Are we going to see this ongoing, or are we catching up, or where are we on that?
I think, unfortunately, this is going to be ongoing for some time. Our infrastructure, being from the 60s and 70s primarily, it is reaching that point where we're starting to see that type of failure. Main Street was a perfect example. Over the last 2 years, we've had 3 or 4 force main failures that we've had to respond on a Friday night or a Sunday morning. It's never 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, ever. And if our town engineer has scheduled a day off on a Friday, Margaret and I start just checking on the calendar, force main day, because it's automatic. We've forbid him from taking a Friday off. But all kidding aside, we are at that stage in our infrastructure where we are going to need to begin investing in that. They're doing the exploration and the investigation now. When they have those type of reports, we will attempt to be proactive in the way of aligning or replacement before we have emergencies. But that's where we're going from this point on.
Well, now that I've seen some of those holes some of those guys have to climb down, it's given me a new appreciation for their job. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for those of you that were able to make time.
Are there any other questions? Okay. Do I have a motion to pass this to recommendation for town council? All in favor? Okay, great. That, I believe, is the end of the committee meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor? Everyone have a good evening. We'll see you.